It's like, that's not right. It's like we're there to learn and just try to kind of better ourselves. But it's just tough. It's tough for the younger generation too, man. It's like, we want to leave the world a better place for them, but it seems to get harder and harder. But that's where faith comes back into play, where it's like we go to church, we're like, hey man, let's kind of just focus on this other stuff here and just try to go back to being the people that we're.
Yeah, I think it's about kind of giving them a strong foundation, and then, when they get out on their own, they're going to be exposed to a lot of different stuff. Yeah. But then it's like, usually they'll come back around, because they have that foundation and they see the fruits of, the way of, I guess, the way they were raised, and the fruit of that. And hopefully that's going to cause them to, stay strong in whatever faith they, grew up in and things. But I think there's definitely there's a period where, kind of, they have to make it their own. We can raise them a certain way, with certain principles, certain beliefs, but then they have to go through that process of really owning it and adopting those as their own. And I think that's something we've all experienced and gone through growing up, to where we really have those convictions. It's not just something our parents, or maybe we're doing to try to please our parents, but it's something we really have a strong conviction about personally, to where we adopt those principles as our own.
I think at an early age, you want to see kind of the example that they're setting for you. That's part of it as well. And it's part of our responsibility to train them as they're young, give them the tools to learn and then to be able to make their own decisions, as opposed to just like being strict or rigid and saying, well, don't do this, don't do that. And they're like, what, why?
It's really about the relationship. Once you have the relationship, because as they get older, it changes from, well, do this because I said so, to where you really have to have influence, over their decisions. I heard an analogy recently. It's like when there's a toddler and you're telling them, hey, you don't go over there. Well, if they go over there, I mean, you pick them up and you bring them back to where they're supposed to be, right? When they're teenagers, you can't necessarily do that. You can't just pick them up and put them back, So, that's where that relationship that you build with them as they're growing up, you want them to be able to come to you when they encounter those issues, or when they're wrestling with something, and be like, what do you think about this? Just to have that openness, that communication. So I think it's real important, like you said, not to just be, rigid rules like my way or the highway. It's like, hey, let's talk about this. Let's think about it. And because the world is going to influence them. For sure. They're getting bombarded with messages every day, from whether it be from social media, YouTube, school, college, whatever. It's like you want to be one of the voices that's that they're listening to. Right. You want to be hopefully the main voice. Right. But that's really born out of the relationship that you foster and cultivate with them as they're growing up. Where they know they can come to you with, hard stuff, and you're not going to freak out on them and, go all crazy.
When you do your family time at the Y, is it all your family going, all your kids?
Typically, yeah. It's going to be the whole family. Yeah, we made it mandatory. That is one thing that we made mandatory, but we don't force them to work out.